Hi besties, welcome back. I am aware that I am about a month late to do this tag, to do this trend. I have been seeing all the wonderful book girlies doing this. I just wanted to contribute a month late. So in this video, I am going to be doing the mid-year freakout bookish tag. Is that what this is called? The mid-year freakout. I originally saw bestie Ellen Catherine doing this. I know she's not the original creator of this tag, but I will have her video linked down below. But it's essentially 17 questions relating to the first half of this year, the second half of this year, book-related questions, channel-related questions, all that fun stuff. So without further ado, let's get into the mid-year freakout. Question 1 is, how has your 2025 reading year been so far? My reading year, as of right now, has been very up and down. I've had some absolutely wonderful reads. I've had some disappointing reads, we'll say. There is someone drilling right outside my house. Wonderful. The main thing I have struggled with the most this year is reading slumps. I feel like in every single video I have posted, I have said that I'm in some sort of reading slump. I don't know if it's because I've been reading some very highly anticipated reads this year and they have put me in slumps, or it's because I've been reading maybe some more disappointing reads, but I have definitely been in a very up and down reading slump so far. In terms of my reading goal for 2025, I set a goal of 50 books. And today is the 29th of July. I have read so far 33 books out of the 50. I am on track to meet my reading goal by November. So we're doing okay in terms of how many books I've read. Question 2 is the best book I have read so far this year. And this will come as no surprise to anyone if you have been watching my channel for the past few months. While this is technically not one book, I'm going to put it all in one category because it is a series, and that is The Boys of Tommen series by Chloe Walsh. We all know I have absolutely fallen in love with that series this year. That a whole series has taken over my entire life. It's become my whole personality trait. I am so happy there are people creating content about books that have led me to read that series. And in case you were wondering, my two favourite out of that series are Binding and Keeping 13. But the first two books are 100% my favourite, and they are my favourite books I have read so far this year. Question 3 is the best sequel of 2025. Now, bear with me with this one because I know that this book by no means came out this year. It is a very old book now. My answer for this is actually Catching Fire, the second book in the Hunger Games series. I read The Hunger Games for the first time this year. I'm an avid lover of the films. They are up there with some of my favourite films of all time, but I had never actually read the book series. And Catching Fire was, of course, my favourite book in the series that I've read so far. While it technically didn't come out this year, that has been my favourite sequel that I have read this year. Next question is a new release you haven't read yet. I've got 2 books for this question. First one is Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. This is the second book in the Out on a Limb series. I also read that book for the first time this year and absolutely adored it. That book quickly went up to one of my god tier books of all time. I think I rated it 5 stars on Goodreads and Fable at about the 40-50% mark. I just knew from halfway into that book that I was going to be obsessed. Hannah Bonham Young is a wonderful author. She writes such cute, fluffy romances. And Out of the Woods actually came out this year, which is following a couple that we met in Out of a Limb who are actually happily married in that book. And their book is following them trying to rekindle their marriage. I believe they go on this sort of woodland couples retreat situation. And something about that is just so intriguing to me because we know from Out on a Limb that they were very happily married. So I'm really interested to see how we ended up in the situation that's led to their book. And then the second book I have for this question is actually Blood of Hercules. I still know absolutely nothing about this book. I have seen it everywhere. It is all over social media. I've had the audiobook saved since it came out. I don't actually know anything about it, but I think because it's getting so much hype online and the second book in that series is coming out soon, that is one that I'm actually really eager to get to. Question 5 is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Another question that I have multiple answers for because it's so hard to pick just one book. The first one I have is Brimstone by Callie Hart. This is the sequel to Quicksilver. Quicksilver was the first book I read in 2025. 5-star read, absolutely wonderful fantasy book. And the second book comes out, I want to say in August. I don't actually know when this book comes out, but I really enjoyed Quicksilver and I'm excited to see what happens in the second book because book 1 ended on the biggest cliffhanger ever. And I have Wrath of the Dragons by Olivia Rose Darling, another one that I am so excited to get to because I love Fear the Flames. I read it when it was indie published and I absolutely adored it, and then I was very lucky to also get the arc of the published version of Fear the Flames. I have been obsessively trying to get an arc of Wrath of the Dragons and I have been unsuccessful, but it does come out today, so I desperately need to put in an order and get this book because another one, wonderful fantasy that I'm so eager to get to. And then the last book I have for this question, all fantasy I'm now realising, is Fearful by Lauren Roberts. I had no idea that we were getting another Powerless book. I think this one is another novella, that could be wrong. I haven't done a whole lot of research on this one. It just came up on Waterstones that it had been announced, pre-ordered it, didn't need any more information. Lauren Roberts is one of my favourite authors. Powerless is one of my favourite books of all time, another God tier one for me. I believe Fearful is following a character we haven't met yet or someone that's been mentioned briefly in the series that we don't know a whole lot about. But I do have the Waterstones special editions of these books, and what's another one to add to the collection? Question 6 is the biggest disappointment so far. I feel like a lot of people are going to be angry at me for this one, but it will come as no surprise if you've been watching me for a while. It is Lightlark by Alex Astor. Another one that didn't come out this year, but definitely took off a lot on social media in 2025. This book was everywhere. On every social media platform you go on, someone is talking about Lightlark. I hunted in about 5 different Waterstones to get this book and I finally found it. It sat on my TBR for about a year and I finally picked it up on audiobook. I really hated it. I feel like hate's such a strong word, but when someone says like, what book do you absolutely hate? Unfortunately, this one does come to mind. I think the premise of this book is incredible and it's such an interesting storyline, but as I've said in previous videos, it was just executed very poorly to me. It didn't feel very well written at all. It was classed as young adult when it was released, but some of the content in a young adult book is questionable. I just don't think that book was for me. I love fantasy, I love young adult fantasy, young adult romance not so much, but this is one that I was so excited to get to, and then when I finally read it I was very disappointed. And I have said my piece on this in the past, but I do think if I didn't listen to it on audio, probably would have DNF'd it. The audiobook was the only thing that got me through, and that's all I'm gonna say on that. Question 7 is the biggest surprise of 2025. For this one I've put The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I read this in my reading highest versus lowest rated on Goodreads video. I was forced to pick this book up. It was the highest rated on my Goodreads shelf. I'm so glad that I read that book. It's one of those slow burn books where you don't realise how much you love it until months pass and you're still thinking about the characters and the plot and you're emotionally obsessing over everything that went down in that book. Kristen Hanna is an author I've heard about for such a long time and I just never had picked anything up from her. And since reading The Nightingale, my Kristen Hanna collection has vastly grown. The Nightingale was my first ever historical fiction and now I have a small obsession with reading books about World War II. But that book definitely surprised me. I didn't enjoy maybe the first like half of the book as much. It took me a very long time to get into it because it was so different for me. But as I said, months have passed since I read that book and I still think about it probably daily. The next question is favourite new author, either new to you or a debut author. First author I have for this is Laura Stephen. She is the author of Our Infinite Fates that came out this year. Absolutely wonderful young adult fantasy book. She has some very beautiful quotes in that book. I think for a young adult book, it was so interesting and perfectly written where it didn't feel childish. It's another one that really took me by surprise, and also have her newest release, Silver Cloak, on pre-order. I'm so excited to get to that one. She's an author that just comes up with such interesting concepts, but those concepts are very well thought out and executed absolutely beautifully. I loved Our Infinite Fates. I can't wait to read more from this author. And then, of course, another author that I have been introduced to this year is Chloe Walsh. I can't keep talking about Chloe Walsh. I feel like in every single video I find a way to sprinkle in something about Boys of Tommen. But of course, Chloe Walsh is an author that I've fallen in love with this year. Question 9 is newest fictional crush. I have Beau from Out on a Limb. He was just the most sunshine personified golden retriever. And I loved his character so much. I think he was so sweet. And the way he treated the female main character, Wyn, in Out on a Limb, he is just everything I would want in a man. Question 10 is a book that made you cry. Briefly, of course, Binding and Keeping 13. Who's surprised? I was emotionally devastated reading those books. I vlogged reading both of them and I spent the whole video crying my eyes out. I think reading the end of Binding 13, I caught on camera that I was getting chest pains from crying so hard. And then I also have Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. This one was iffy, I think, because I'm so emotionally invested in the characters of the Fourth Wing books, or the Empyrean series I believe it's called. I'm so invested in those characters that any little thing that happens to them devastates me. And I spent a lot of Onyx Storm crying over the dragons. I never thought I would be so connected to dragons in books, but here we are. Another one that I vlogged me reading and just cried. A lot of my channel at this point is me just crying over books. Question 11 is a book you saw on TikTok and regret reading. This was one of the easiest questions to answer ever, and it is Phantasma. This is another one that has been very popular on Book Talk. Everyone was talking about it. Everyone was raving and hyping about it, saying how wonderful this fantasy book was. And I didn't get the hype whatsoever. Just feel like it was another one of those where the concept of the book was great, but the execution wasn't. I feel like I was cringing so much at some of the things that were being done and some of the things that were being said. I was very interested in the whole trials aspect of this book, and then when I read it I was like, we're not really getting those trial aspects that I wanted. It was one of those that I wish I loved, but it just wasn't for me. It didn't hit the spot. I didn't like either of the main characters, and the storyline just fell a little bit flat for me. The next question is the most beautiful book you have gotten this year. This has got to be the Waterstones exclusive edition of Our Infinite Fates. I will put a little picture up of the edition I've got. In case you didn't know, I have just moved house and all of my books are currently in boxes, which is why I don't have any of them to show and hold up to answer these questions. So I can't actually show you the copy I've got, but I'll try and put a picture on the screen of the special edition. It is so beautiful. I was actually in shock when I opened the parcel. Red edges are wonderful. End pages are beautiful. The cover is beautiful. The naked hardback is wonderful. Just everything about that book. If all books came like that, I would be poor. I would have no money because every little thing about that design was so carefully curated to match the vibes of the book. I love that edition so much. I can't wait to get my new bookshelves and have that front and center on display because it is, oh god, it's just so beautiful. Question 13 is some books you want to read by the end of the year. At the start of every new year, I write a 2025 TBR, 2024 TBR, all of the books that I want to get to in that year that I try and sprinkle in through my monthly TBRs. I didn't actually set 25 for the year of 2025, I did 15. Because my reading goal was 50, I feel like 25 books out of 50 was just a little bit too much commitment for me, because we had so many new releases coming out, so many books that I'd wanted to get to for a really long time. So I didn't do 25, but I did do 15. And as of right now, I have read 10 out of those 15 books. So the 5 that I still have left on my 2025 TBR that I want to get to by the end of the year are Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. This is the sequel to One Dark Window. I read that book so long ago now that I can't even remember what happened, but I do remember absolutely loving that book. I'm pretty sure One Dark Window was my first 5-star of 2024. The next one I have is Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. This is the sequel to The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent, another wonderful fantasy book that I absolutely loved. I have a habit of starting series and just not finishing them. We know this. So a lot of the books that I still have left to read this year are sequels or continuations of a series, because by putting them on my 2025 TBR, it pushes me that little bit more to actually complete some of the series that I've started. So that is a common theme that we're about to see. The next one I have is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. I am aware that that is the last book in the Harry Potter series, but my thought process on this one was strategic. But I have put the last book in the series because by doing that, it pushes me more to finish the series rather than putting, say, the first book and then reading the first book, ticking it off my TBR and forgetting about the series. By putting the last one means that I can't finish my 2025 TBR unless I finish that series. Then I have Wrath of Dragons by Olivia Rose Darling. When the Moon Hatched is another book that absolutely blew up on social media. I was so eager to get it. And then when I received the book and realised just how chunky it was, I have been put off slightly. The sheer size of it is so intimidating. But I think since reading Boys of Tommen and the size of those books, surely I can't be that scared of like an 800 plus page book anymore, considering the first 2 books in Boys of Tommen are like 900 to 1,000 pages long. They are ridiculous. I do think I stand a good chance of completing my 2025 TBR. Question 14 is favourite video you have made so far? I briefly spoke about this in another question, but it's my highest versus lowest rated books on my Goodreads shelf. Not only was that video so fun to film because I basically had no choice in what I was going to read, and it was a surprise to me as to what I was going to get, but I got 2 wonderful books out of that video. I read Never by Jessa Hastings, which I really enjoyed, and something about it just felt so nostalgic because it is Peter Pan retelling. And then of course in that video I read The Nightingale. Wonderful book, love Kristen Hanna. I'm so eager to read more of her backlist. Question 15 is a video you thought would flop but actually did well. I am of course still a very small creator. I don't have loads of followers. I don't tend to get a lot of traffic coming through my videos because I am such a small creator. But my May TBR video blew up and I have no idea why. If you haven't seen that video, I essentially wrapped up my entire TBR cart because my birthday is in May and I thought it would be fun to unwrap my books and pick my TBR like that, like I was unwrapping little birthday presents. But something about that video must have really intrigued people because it is my most viewed video every single month. Every week even. So many people are watching that video, which I'm of course so happy about. It's a video that I didn't really put a lot of thought into. I just kind of sat, filmed it, uploaded it, and within a few hours it had got hundreds of thousands of views, which of course is great, but that just really took me by surprise. The next question is any upcoming videos that you are excited for? I am most excited to film all of the end of year videos. I don't want to obviously rush the second half of this year, but I adore watching people's like all the books I read in 2025, all the books I did and didn't like this year. Tier ranking videos. I am so excited to sit down and film a tier ranking all of the books I read this year. That is one that I am so excited for. And then also all of the videos going through like next year's TBR, next year's reading goals, making a new reading journal. All of the like end/beginning of year videos are my favourite to watch, so I'm so excited to do some of them. But the most exciting video I cannot wait to film and upload is my bookshelf video. As I said, I've just moved house. I have not got any bookshelves in this bedroom yet. I'm so excited to do my own little home library, get some new bookshelves, decorate them, build them, and I can't wait to film it all for you. It might film my whole like organisation and thought process, and then along with that going through all of the books that I have on my bookshelves. And then the final question, question 17, is any channel goals before the end of the year? I did not make any sort of goals when I created this channel. It was just something that I wanted to do for fun. I like to read, I like to watch vlogs, I like to watch other people reading. So it was just something that I thought I would do for fun to share with other people because I like watching them so much. So I didn't set any specific goals when I started creating videos. Off the top of my head, I would love to reach 2,000 subscribers. I think we're sitting at about 1.7 right now, which considering I only started this channel maybe 8-9 months ago, that is incredible. It's nothing I'm specifically reaching for. I will not be upset if I don't reach 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It would also be nice to reach for that number, I guess. I would like to be more consistent with uploads. Making content about books can be tricky sometimes because unless you are filming sit-down videos like this one, it can get a little bit daunting when you're filming reading vlogs because you can only upload as fast as you are reading. And this has been such a busy year for me. I have been working night shift and I am also a full-time student. I'm currently studying to get my master's degree. So finding time to read and film is very difficult for me, but I am finishing university very soon. So one of my biggest goals is to just prioritise filming and reading and taking more time out of my day to sit and read and to be more consistent with this channel. And also be more consistent with filming just sit down videos. This is the kind of video that is very intimidating for me because it involves, of course, a lot of talking, which I'm still getting comfortable with. But that is definitely one of my biggest goals for the second half of the year, just being more consistent with my reading in general and being more consistent with uploads. So those are all of the questions from this mid-year freakout tag. I am so curious to know some of your answers to these questions. I love hearing about what people are wanting to read. But that is the end of this video. Thank you so much for joining me, and if you are still here at the end of this video after hearing me yap about so much random stuff, thank you for sticking around. If you would like to see more from me, stick around, show some love, subscribe, all of that good stuff. I will have Ellen's channel linked down below from where I got this video idea, and I will also try and find the original creator for this tag and link them down below. And I will also put the questions that I have answered in this video in the description. But that is all from me, and I will see you when I see you.